1975. The movie Jaws came out that year, and now we have summer scary blockbuster movies forevermore. Saturday Night Live started in 1975. In 1975, Microsoft was becoming a company for the first time. 1975 was also the year that Bic rolled out disposable razors. Also 1975, International Women's Year. That's right, ladies of the world, it was a year just for you. I was 2 years old at the time, so I couldn't really appreciate it then. But feminists in 1975 were psyched, and they had big, ambitious goals.
It tastes like chocolate.
Women's liberation is truly the liberation of all people. Let 1975, International Women's Year, be the year that ERA is ratified.
That, of course, was noted women's liber Republican President Gerald Ford talking up one of his goals for International Women's Year, the passage of the acronym that sometimes signifies the earned run average, but in this case stands for the Equal Rights Amendment, the ERA. And it's pretty straightforward as these things go. It's pretty cut and dry. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. That's it. That's the whole amendment. It would amend the Constitution to say, in America, the law cannot discriminate against people because of their sex. Despite lots of people working very hard on it, the ERA did not happen in 1975. Despite President Ford's hopes, International Women's Year was not the year ERA would be ratified. But last week, it started to feel like 1975 all over again, and not just because the Camaro is back. Last week, the Supreme Court rejected the biggest sex discrimination class action lawsuit in U.S. history. One technical part of the case on what kind of relief people are allowed to sue for in that kind of case, that was decided unanimously, but the sex discrimination part of the case against Walmart, that was decided on familiar ideological lines. The court's 5 conservatives siding with Walmart, the court's non-conservatives siding with the women who said they were discriminated against. 2 days after that ruling, 2 days after the Supreme Court decided for Walmart and against about 1 million women, Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney of New York and Senator Robert Menendez of New Jersey decided to reintroduce the old ERA. And why not? Upon reintroducing the Equal Rights Amendment, Congresswoman Maloney said the Walmart case decided by the Supreme Court is a classic example of how far attitudes must still come. The facts of the case support the view that over 1 million women were systematically denied equal pay by the world's largest employer. You know, the Equal Rights Amendment is one of those things that gets introduced in every Congress, but nobody ever really pays that much attention to it anymore. And it goes way further back than even 1975. An early version of it was written in 1923. But it was 1972 before it finally got around to passing overwhelmingly through both the House and the Senate. A constitutional amendment, though, also has to go not just through Congress, but through the states. It had to be ratified by 38 states within a decade of it passing Congress. So it passed Congress in 72. By 82, at the end of 10 years, the ERA had made it through 35 states, not the 38 states it needed to get through, and so it ran out of time, 3 states short. Now here we are in 2011 with nothing in the Constitution that says you cannot discriminate on the basis of sex. And more than 1 million women saying they were paid less by Walmart because they are women. And the Supreme Court telling those 1 million women, tough luck. And Carolyn Maloney, who just so happens to have a copy of the Equal Rights Amendment that you might very much like to read. It's quite short and to the point. It won't take long. So who knows? The Camaro is back. People are using 70s fonts again. Maybe this could be the year for the ERA. I mean, we haven't really truly debated it in almost 30 years. How do the arguments stand up from the last time we fought about this? The main voice against it at the time was a woman named Phyllis Schlafly. She is still around. She would likely still make the same arguments. So how does old Phyllis Schlafly hold up over time?
That's right at all. I believe in equal.
It would be a direct attack on our families, on our morals, on our culture.
When the Equal Rights Amendment was defeated in Florida, one of the arguments of the Phyllis Schlaflys of the world against it was that they said it would legalize unisex bathrooms. And that, of course, would bring down the Republic.
Now let us get on to what I'm crazy about, what they call the potty problem. It has been said that if we're all equal, we're all going to have to use the same bathroom facilities.
Another really effective argument against the ERA last time we fought about this as a country was that making women equal to men in the eyes of the law would be the same thing as making men and women the same thing.
The fact is that the militant advocates of the so-called ERA, who are misleading thousands of fine women across this land, do not want to raise a family as we have cherished over the years, nor to have any sexual, physical, or social differences between a man and woman in modern America.
See, if you vote for the ERA, you will transform the entire human race into a subclass of asexual bond people without families.
For the good of the women as well as the families and the total fabric of our society in America, it would be a deterrent to progress in America, particularly in the strength of the family. The most important activity that a woman can engage in is that in the home. Rearing children are citizens for tomorrow.
And we can't go having the people rearing our children, our citizens for tomorrow. We can't go having them having equal rights. But it was not just about destroying families and men and women peeing too near together. Its opponents also argued that the Equal Rights Amendment would have unintended consequences. Like it might not just give rights to ladies, if you know what I mean.
I would caution the members of this platform committee that there are things that could happen from the passage of an ERA amendment that none of us would like to see happen.
Would the Equal Rights Amendment be a unisex amendment which would require states to permit homosexuals to be married?
The Equal Rights Amendment says you cannot discriminate on account of sex. And if you want to deny a marriage license to a man and a man, or deny a homosexual the right to teach in the schools or to adopt children, it is on account of sex that you would deny it, and that would be unconstitutional under ERA.
I think that families would, generation after generation, deteriorate. I think that there would be homosexuals who would expect preferential treatment, and I think that our society would decay. I think we would find ourselves just in the same situation that ancient Greece found themselves in, the Romans. I think we can see that civilizations have declined when those kinds of things have taken place, and I'm afraid that the Equal Rights Amendment might lead to that.
Remember the ancient Greeks, right? First it was equal rights for women, then it was preferential treatment for the gays, and then the end, no more Greece. But perhaps most directly, the opponents of the ERA argued that giving women equal rights would kill you.
If the Equal Rights Amendment were ratified, these girls could be forced to go to combat. God didn't intend women for NFL football or combat.
Women are exempt from the draft. Selective service says only young men of age 18 have to register. But the Equal Rights Amendment will positively make women subject to the draft and on an equal basis with men. Nor could you have a system whereby the women would get all the nice, easy desk jobs and the men get all the fighting jobs.
In the 70s and the early 80s, it was Phyllis Schlafly and Jerry Falwell who were there to protect American women from war and the NFL. But that argument, the part about women's role in the military, was probably the one with the most crossover appeal at the time. Anecdotally, at least, people who were otherwise for the Equal Rights Amendment thought twice about it when people started talking about women in the military. Kind of how women are de facto in combat now, which makes you wonder how Phyllis Schlafly is coping. Even without the ERA, these ladies did not get their desk jobs. What's next? Women on submarines or something? Oh, hey, look. Women on submarines. Turns out we've gotten over that one, too. So, yeah, the ERA has been kicking around forever. But why couldn't it become law now? Do the arguments against it from the 1970s still stand up now? Really? I know the House is full of Republicans, and so are the state legislatures now, but one underappreciated thing about the modern Republican Party is how much Republicans want to change the Constitution. Republicans want to change the Constitution for everything. In recent years, Republicans have proposed what they call a repeal amendment, changing the Constitution so states can repeal any federal law they don't like. They've proposed dropping the 14th Amendment, so you're not necessarily a citizen just because you're born here. They have proposed a constitutional amendment to ban the U.S. government from buying stock in a company. Presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann proposed a constitutional amendment to ban the president from entering into a treaty that would change the U.S. currency to some sort of global currency. because that's an urgent concern. Republicans have pushed to repeal the 17th Amendment. That's the one that says we get to elect U.S. senators. Republicans have also backed in recent years a parental rights amendment to the Constitution to make sure the UN doesn't come in and take away American parents' rights. Republicans have proposed amending the Constitution, of course, to ban gay marriage. Republicans have proposed amending the Constitution to ban abortion. Republicans have proposed repealing the 16th Amendment, which would ban the income tax. They have wanted to amend the Constitution to make English the official language of the United States. They have wanted to amend the Constitution to ban desecration of the flag, to ban deficits. Republicans proposed 42 different amendments to the United States Constitution in the last Congress alone. So, Equal Rights Amendment?
Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex.
Equal Rights Amendment is that simple. Given all the other ways Republicans say they want to amend the Constitution, does that one just go too far?